that actually this is a very typical development model that is followed by the private business during the 30 years of reform and opening in China. The speed private business has been grow up and expand was marvelous, and starting from low price, low quality, even not very decent market behavior, as they would take advantage of the inadequacy of regulation and its implementation. The private businesses, they would accumulate resources and upgrade their products. In this way, they become competitive, and with upgraded products, examples are like iGo, Lenovo, and of course in the mobile industry, like K-Touch. Last but not least, when you think about the younger generation, especially those who were born after the 80s, the Shan Zhai mobile phone satisfied their desire for being cool, for being bodily creative, and this sees no stop in the near future. Conclusion. Though we cannot guarantee a bright future for every one of those Shan Zhai mobile phones. This interior competition among them is getting stunningly intense. There are actually a lot of Shan Zhai companies getting bankrupt these days. But for Shan Zhai as a culture, I would say this is a spring for them, and it's just a start. Though the Shan Zhai phenomenon, it may not be recorded by the history seriously, but when you think about it, when you think about the desire you see in this phenomenon, people are seeking for freedom of expression, and to challenge the authority, and this is a irreversible trend. That's all for my speech. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Karl Weaver. Karl, you will see his presentation that after the presentation you probably know him better. But previously in his earlier life, and we found out actually Karl and I had a lot of cross paths. He worked for Motorola before and been in Taiwan for 10 plus years, etc. But he's now with Gemoto, which probably some of you may not know, but if I mention Gem Plus as a SIM card company, a lot of you probably know. Gemoto is a French company, and Karl joined the company I think a few years back, and he's now responsible for strategic planning and marketing. And also I think I should emphasize that Karl is also a teacher, so something that again we have something quite in common. So I will not bother you with my poor introduction, because Karl did promise this will be a very dynamic and entertaining talk. So.
Okay. I want to see a Shan Zhai handset. Does anyone have one? Where? Anybody have one? Any hidden Shan Zhai people here? Anybody? Whoa, okay. Nobody. Oh, that's disappointing. My name is Karl Weaver. I am a wireless market mobile device specialist. I have been doing business with the greater Chinese markets for a number of years. I am a technology public speaker as well. I am presenting under the guise of Newport Technologies today. Please remember that. And I like to talk about controversial topics, always. Today's table of contents, I'm going to go rapid fire. I have over 59 slides, so I have to go fast. Now, let's talk about the evolution of the global handset industry. So who invented the first cell phone? Ooh, Julia. No?
I'm not the expert.
Who invented the first cell phone?
I saw an article last week, and the guy's name is...
Wasn't Karl Weaver?
No, it wasn't.
It was Motorola, and the guy that made the first wireless phone communication is an eccentric fellow by the name of Martin Cooper. when he worked for Motorola. I met the fellow, an interesting guy. Now, so let's talk about the evolution of Shan Zhai. So how did this Shan Zhai phenomenon start? Well, I have been tracking the mobile industry in Asia from its beginning. And let's talk about the Chinese markets. You can see here that back in the year 2000, there were no Chinese brands. There were some Taiwanese brands just starting, but there are no Chinese brands. Moto, hello Moto, Motorola and Nokia. These were the two companies in China, and they had the lion's share. But of course, Taiwanese companies started to chip away a bit, and other foreign companies. Eventually, mainland Chinese companies entered the market. They entered the market around 2003. Ningbo? Anybody know Ningbo Bird? Remember this company? They had a huge market share in 2003. By now, they're almost gone away. This market changes so rapidly. You have to be aware of it. 2005, what happened is the Chinese government said, okay, we want 40 companies, or we have basically 40 companies that are registered to manufacture in China in 2005 because it was getting very unorganized. Everybody was jumping in, and nobody knew who the real manufacturers were with the companies that just put the brand on there. And actually, that situation hasn't changed that much today. People don't know who the real manufacturers are. After this presentation, you will have a better clue, or you have a better idea of that. Now, in 2006, Tianyu Lantong became the first real private organization that developed a handset using a MediaTek chip and their own RTOS software. So that was a feature phone, right? Not a smartphone. And in 2007, basically the government said, well, let's do away with this requirement to actually have a license to manufacture in China. And that opened the floodgates around 2007. It basically opened the floodgates. In 2008, Lenovo kind of basically sold their handset division, so split it from their notebook division, and now it's kind of a private entity. It's still somewhat part of the organization, but I haven't figured out exactly how it's structured now. They have an office here in Beijing, Zhongguancun. 2009, what we see is the major tier 1 handset vendors, the sales are plummeting. And I think our friends here at Nokia will probably not feel so happy about this, but the fact is Shan Zhai is affecting the tier 1 handset manufacturers. And it's not in a positive way. It's actually in a negative way. And I think the real problem here is if I put a Nokia handset, the real thing, and then I put a counterfeit one, if I'm a savvy Westerner, I can probably figure out the difference. But if you're coming from the third world and you've never seen the real thing and you see the one that looks like the real thing, oh, Houston, we have a problem. Because emerging markets around the world, the people aren't familiar with the real thing, and when the Shan Zhai comes in, you have a situation where they may choose the Shan Zhai because, oh, it's cheaper, seems to be the real thing, looks like the real thing, almost like Nokia. And maybe they can't even spell the difference between Nokia and NCKIA, which is a common problem. They basically rebrand the name, and the handset is basically using a MediaTek chip. So I'll talk more about that. All right. This is what I call the Greater China